I went from closing my doors in weeks. You know, I gave you my house money, like the money that was supposed to go towards my house rent, and I gave it to you. And now I have enough to potentially hire on a new employee, at least part-time, if not full-time, to kind of dig me out of a hole that I built for myself by not getting my systems and procedures in places. So I went from potentially losing my house and having to move in with my folks again to looking for an employee in a month. We went from hopeless to around 40 grand in our pocket in less than a month. And that went from, and I didn't even probably make 40,000 last year, which is, we almost tripled our business in about 5 weeks, not even a month and a half. We about tripled our business.
I love that. I love your charisma too. You're contagious over here. I love it.
I think over 50 have started care. That's either pay in full, monthly visits, or patient visits. Gosh, never mind. We have 1, 2, 3. So we've had 3 new patients start care today, just FYI. We've had 1 new patient come in today for physical exam. Another one is driving up from Florida and they got hung up in Atlanta, so she didn't make it in. And then we have 1, 2, 3. We have 4 new patients scheduled for this afternoon. And then we have 3 more new patient consultations who are starting care today, on top of about the 30 other patients that we now have because of you. So, but as soon as you turn the ad on, in the next 3 days, we had over 15 new patients where we had 0 the week before. Oh. So in 3 days, you turn the ad on, 10 patients show up in my clinic and get physical exams, get x-rays done, and at least get 1 patient visit in. So 10 in 3 days. Literally 2 weeks later, we had 31 patients in 1 day. So we went from, that was the maximum number that we had in 1 day. We had 7 patients try to sign up for care in 1 day.
All right, everyone, I'm here with Dr. Kyle. Thanks for being here, Dr. Kyle.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Professor Hayden.
You're welcome. We just wanted to shoot a little bit of a behind the scenes, a look into what it looks like working with us. I'm sure you've seen other videos like this, but Kyle had amazing results, I guess I could say, right?
Yeah, sure.
You were in a unique situation, and I think we got you into a place and positioned you into a place to make the next 12 months look a lot different than the previous 12. Would you agree?
Yeah, the doors are open now because they were going to close at the end of last month if something drastic didn't happen. So it looks a little bit different now. Yeah, I could safely say that.
I agree. Okay, let's just jump in now, okay, Kyle? And I appreciate that little bit of a tidbit or a snippet on your situation. But if you can, just expand on it a little bit more. Tell me a bit about yourself, your practice, your situation, how all this thing came to fruition.
Okay, well, we've been in practice for about a year, and we had our loan to make it through about a year practice. I calculated out that much money whenever I got the loan, all that stuff. But what ended up happening is that I was offering a fairly premium product in a not very affluent area of Tennessee. So what ended up happening is that the number in the bank account kept going down and down and down. And then for whatever reason, March, we went from about 60 visits a week, which I know is not great. I know a lot of you are doing better than that, but we plummeted down to about 30 something visits. We had no new leads. We had nothing. Everything we were trying wasn't working. And we were probably going to end up closing the dadgum doors at the end of the month. But I heard about Hayden through one of these chiropractic groups, and I gave him a portion of my house rent money just to try to get anything going. So I literally put all of my eggs in one basket, and long story short, we now have a thriving practice. We went from 31 visits a week all the way up to 79 visits in 3 weeks. 1 day, if I wouldn't have dropped the ball, we would have made over 20 grand in 1 day just based on new patients signing up. So the thing is, he gives you all the dadgum resources you need. You just have to actually take the time to go through them, because you'll get overwhelmed with patients if you're kind of a slower clinic like me. So if you don't take the time to actually watch the videos and all that and learn how he does stuff, you'll drop 20 grand like I did, because I would have made so much more money if I actually just would have paid attention to what he was trying to tell me. But I just got too busy, because one time we had 9 new patients in 1 day, and the most I ever had in the history of ever was 3. And that only happened once. So we went from having 3 patients on one day in a whole year to 9 patients in one day, and I did not have resources. So it was insane. It was insane. And I kind of rambled there, but what else we got going on?
No, I love it. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. So you kind of went through it there. You're in a unique situation. I think that was about 5-6 weeks ago, right?
Yep, that was 5 weeks ago. 5 weeks ago, we had 31 patients in a whole week. And then literally 2 weeks later, we had 31 patients in one day. So we went from, that was the maximum number that we had in one day. We had 7 patients try to sign up for care in one day. Again, Dr. 𝗖𝗛𝗥𝗢𝗣𝗥𝗔𝗖𝗧 here just dropped the ball on that. But now we have systems and procedures in place. We have our close rate has never been higher. We've started doing some other things to try to capitalize on this ridiculous amount of new patients Hayden's bringing us in. So now we're offering financing through the office. Almost every single patient, if they haven't paid in full, they've either tried for like a care credit or something like that. They've applied for that. If they haven't made that, we're allowing them financing through the clinic. And then if they're not doing that, they're paying per visit. Mm-hmm. And now we're at, I think, again, 79 patient visits a week, which is, we almost tripled our business in about 5 weeks, not even a month and a half. We about tripled our business.
I love that. I love your charisma too. You're contagious over here. I love it. And I know we've chatted a little bit before we started recording. I think you said at the beginning, at 18 minutes, you have a new patient coming in. And so,
yeah, they're probably going to be starting to fill out paperwork in about 13 minutes. So that'll be the second or third one today. So we've already had 3 or 4 consultations today. We've had 2 more start care today. We had another, here, let me go to today. Oh gosh, never mind. We have 1, 2, 3. So we've had 3 new patients start care today, just FYI. We've had 1 new patient come in today for physical exam. Another one is driving up from Florida and they got hung up in Atlanta, so she didn't make it in. And then we have 1, 2, 3. We have 4 new patients scheduled for this afternoon. And then we have 3 more new patient consultations who are starting care today, on top of about the 30 other patients that we now have because of you. So.
I love it. That's not where I was going with it. I was going to say in the respective time, I'll try to, jump into the rest of the things, but I appreciate you giving me that rundown. And I will just actually say, 6 weeks ago or 7 weeks ago, when we were chatting on the front end, trying to figure out how we're going to set up your campaign and what it's going to look like, you were a lot easier to get a hold of. Kind of hard to get a hold of now.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry I've had to cancel the last couple of meetings, but we're having to see patients during lunch. We're having to extend our hours because I'm not being able to see new patients during the day. I'm having to stay open until 6 or 7 now.
Yeah.
So we're seeing patients before we open and patients after we close, seeing 2 or 3 patients, like new patients, and these are new patients.
Yeah.
We're seeing new patients during lunch. So that's what I'm doing here in a couple minutes, is we're seeing the new patient during my normal lunchtime because, again, I had nowhere else to put them because, again, I'm a little slow doing my physical exams. So I'm getting a lot better at it because I'm having to do 7 a day. So I'm getting faster. But my X-ray machine's still holding me down because it takes about 15 to 30 minutes. And we're looking to get a new one of those, so it doesn't. So the X-ray machine doesn't stop me from seeing so many new patients.
I love it, man. I love it. Okay, if we can, I had somebody actually reach out to me. I was chatting a little bit about your results. Or I think I just shared a screenshot of one of your weeks, and somebody said, like, hey, can you give us more like actual numbers, like an actual breakdown of things, like what kind of demographic was it, what kind of market, what was his ad spend? Do you mind if we jump into a little bit of like the actual stats and the numbers of things? I have some of it on mine if you don't, but what do you have on your income?
So when we first started running that ad, was it the beginning of April, I think?
Yeah, it looks like April 3rd to the 7th was 5 days. That was the first weekly report where we had 57 leads, 38 scheduled appointments, which, disclaimer, it's totally not normal. You live in a great market, totally untapped. And so that was great. And it was, next week to 12 and 11, then 30 and 23, then 55 and 36, then 26 and 16 for a total of 180 leads and 124 scheduled appointments. But like we just talked about when we got on this call, I think there's some things and some processes that need to change and be put into place because you're understaffed and, resources.
Oh, yeah.
And all that type of stuff. How many have you actually seen, Kyle?
Oh, gosh. Well, I've got a number of how many at least started care. And that number is over 50 have started care. That's either pay in full, monthly visits or patient visits. Now, we dropped the ball hard because, again, I had to lay off an employee because I couldn't afford him. So it's just my wife, a 3-year-old, and a 10-month-old. So it's and that's here in the office. So if we actually would have followed through, that number would probably be over 75 to 100. But as soon as you turn the ad on, in the next 3 days, we had over 15 new patients where we had 0 the week before. Oh. So in 3 days, you turn the ad on, 10 patients show up in my clinic and get physical exams, get x-rays done, and at least get 1 patient visit in. So 10 in 3 days. Mm-hmm. The week after that, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on Monday. We had 4 new patients on Tuesday. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on Wednesday. So it's just, and we don't have any other chiropractors here doing Facebook ads. So it just went insane. So we had 30 or 40 new patients in the first 2 weeks that actually walked in through the doors. But then we got so dadgum slammed, we weren't able to follow up like he tells you to. So just do what he tells you to, and you'll. It's frustrating. But the thing is, we're having to wrangle a 3-year-old and a 10-month-old, and having a wife having to do everything else. We could have done so much better if we just had the support. So if you actually have somebody working for you, that'll actually be able to get on a phone without a baby screaming at you, you guys just kill it. Just give him money. Just let him do it, and he will make you so much. God, we went from hopeless to around 40 grand in our pocket in less than a month, and that went from. And I didn't even probably make 40,000 last year because, again, we didn't have the systems and procedures in place. We pretty much made more in 1 month than we did in at least the last half of last year. Wow. Because of Hayden. So
I love that. I appreciate that, man. It's not just me, it's our team, right? It's a team effort.
Oh, yeah.
That.
Yeah, I like Darcy. I like talking to her. She is wonderful. She responds quick, just so they get back to you within the same day. So it's awesome.
She's going to like to hear that. She likes you too. Okay. And so just to break that down a little bit more. So we had 180 leads, 124 scheduled appointments. Do you have an exact number on how many committed to care?
How many committed to care? So the ones that at least got care, and that's even with us dropping the ball, we've at least administered adjustments to 60 specific individuals. At least 60 people showed up for at least the next visit and got an adjustment. But I have tallies, so I don't have exact numbers. My wife was trying to do this in between patients this morning.
That's
so right. We have tallies, but she's out getting stuff for nutrition class that we're putting on tonight because we have not been able to leave before 9 p.m. because of how many new patients we're getting. So she hasn't even been able to get food. So we've been having to survive on McDonald's because of the insane number of new patients. But I'm pretty sure it's around 60 just based on all of that.
Okay. And do you have like predetermined, so I think we discussed a little bit about this, but you do have like recommendations, care plans where people would prepay. Not everyone's been able to afford them. So we're going to change some things with the demographic. Some are doing a payment plan internally. Some qualified for care credits. Some didn't. Some are on an actual care plan. Some are per adjustment, whatever that looks like. But if you were to try to put a number, you said 40 grand cash. I don't know if that means you've already collected that, but if you were to try to put a number to, okay, these are the amount of people that are committed to care, and this is my case average, what would that be? What are your estimated receivables going to be from just what we've done in the last 5 weeks?
So after I quit messing up by not offering in-house financing because of the insane number of people that have declared bankruptcy in the last year, the average case for those individuals is $1,700. Okay. So since I dropped the ball by not accepting them as patients, I let them finance through me. And that alone, by the end of the year, just from what we've seen so far, we've had at least 10 people do that since I quit turning those people away. So that's at least $17,000 there. We have, as of right now, 9 pay-in-fulls, which again is average around $1,500 to $2,500. And that's different for each person. So we have 9 of those that happened, with 4 more pending. A lot of this is finals week for college students, and a lot of people are going on vacation around now. So, so a lot of them are doing that either this week or next week. So we have a potential of, if we said $1,700, so that's another $17,000 to $25,000 there. And then the pay per visit ones, which are ones that didn't want to sign up for a lot of care because of, again, most of it was related to bankruptcy.
Yeah.
Just abnormal how many people are going through bankruptcy. We've at least had 15 of those that pay per visit. And we've had 5 of them coming today. So they're actually coming in. They're not just coming in once and leaving.
Yeah.
So we've had at least, I think this says about 15 people that are just coming in and just paying each time they, not all of us want that, but we still have those people too.
So if you were to try to add that up, you think that's going to accumulatively equal around $40,000?
After looking at this number, I think it's going to be more than that. So somewhere between 40 and 60. I'm sorry, guys, if we haven't been able to come up with an actual number, but that is with a screaming baby, a toddler, and a overly worked wife. And we were able to do that.
Yeah.
And a chiropractor that's slow and derpy and has not listened to what Hayden said. So
You've done pretty good. Okay, so that helps. I appreciate that. And just to get the last piece of the puzzle, to the one gentleman I know was asking for, and I'm sure a lot of other people are thinking about, was the ad spend. And so without going too deep into the situation and the thing that we worked out, long story short, I believe we put $1,500 into ad spend, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Okay. So the reality is that's a lot more than most people do, right? Most people will put between $500 to $1,000. What I did, just the Cliff's Notes, because I think Americans call it Cliff's Notes, we call it Cole's Notes, right? Canadians. But we kind of just offset for a period of time our fees and all that kind of stuff. We just said, let's put that in the future. Let's get you out of your situation. Let's take some of your rent money or whatever it looks like, and let's get you kind of out of the hole and onto the mountaintop beside it, right? And so you spend a little bit more on ad spend, but I think you're happy doing it, even though you missed some opportunities, even though some water came out between the cracks, right? You didn't capitalize on every single opportunity, right? You didn't wait till you had all your ducks in a row. You just said, let's take some freaking action, and you're $60,000 difference in 5 weeks, right?
Yes. I was thinking about the return on investment on that.
Yeah.
What's the return on investment's pretty dadgum. What is that? 30 to 1, maybe something like that.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'm not the greatest at math, but something like that. I'm gonna calculate it afterwards. I love that. Okay, and last question, Kyle, because I know you got to go and see that new patient, get them signed to a pay in full. But what are your plans for the future?
We're gonna keep doing this. And honestly, I got to work on my systems and procedures. That's the biggest thing. We let so many patients fall through the crack that have not your fault at all on this end. And that number would have been so much higher if we just would have implemented better systems and procedures. So that's what we're working on. And we're looking to hire somebody, because I went from closing my doors in weeks. I gave you my house money, like the money that was supposed to go towards my house rent, and I gave it to you. And now I have enough to potentially hire on a new employee, at least part-time, if not full-time, to kind of dig me out of a hole that I built for myself by not getting my systems and procedures in places. So I went from potentially losing my house and having to move in with my folks again to looking for an employee in a month. That's really what it boils down to.
I love it. And that'll be the first of many, I'm sure, man. That'll be the first of many, right? You change your lives at the end of the day too. That's the cool thing. I think all too often, at least from a marketing or my analytical brain point of view, I look at, okay, what's the estimated receivables? What is this? What is that? But I sometimes forget, or at least I don't vocalize, that represents many people that now understand the value of chiropractic care, and they're going to see it in their lives, and their lives are going to improve. Their quality of life is going to improve. They're going to be able to do the things that they want to do. They're going to live a healthier and happier life, right? So $60,000 equals a lot of people that are helped at the end of the day, right? One more or two more.
I had a person that's had a migraine. I've had a patient that had a migraine for 10 years, and it went away after the first adjustment. And she hasn't had it since. So you saved that person just because of what you did for me. So she had a migraine every day of her life for the last decade, and first visit, it's gone. So
I love that.
We're changing lives too. So I always have to keep that in perspective as well.
I love it, Dr. Kyle. Okay, man. Well, I appreciate you taking the time. I look forward to continuing working with you, and I'm not even going to say anything about the whole, because now it's just about how big is the mountain going to be. And I'm really excited to continue changing lives with you.
Oh yeah, thank you. I appreciate you, buddy. You saved my family, you saved my house, and you saved my business. So I appreciate you, bud.
Appreciate you. Okay, take care. We'll talk soon.
Okay, see you, bud.